evening, viewers, and welcome to another episode of Hotspot. On tonight's show, we touch on our first hot topic for this year, violence in sports, in soccer. Hikari United FC captain David Muta joins us for a chat on his career, life on and off the field, and his encouragement to the young guns of PNG soccer. And as always, we wrap up the lineup with the weekend draws. We head straight into golf. Leading up to the 2014 SP Export PNG Open, 15 budding golfers teed off the Junior Pro-Am under the watchful eyes of junior golf coordinators Rosalina Taufa and Nelson Gabriel. BSP comes on board for another year to support the development and growth of golf in the country. Under the guidance of golfers and junior golf coordinators Nelson Gabriel and Rosalina Taufa, 15 young enthusiasts braved the Port Moresby afternoon heat to tee off at the Royal Port Moresby Golf Club. As the day drew to a close, Justin Maker took the opportunity to acknowledge this Junior Pro-Am development program as the brainchild of Bob Matagath at a question and answer session before presentation.
First of all, I made a special trip up here in January last year and had a few meetings not only in Port Moresby but Mount Hagen and Lae also. And one of the biggest, I think, things that came up from those meetings was the junior golf and what junior golf was, or what was happening with junior golf in PNG. So after speaking with Stan and the committee here at the Royal Port Moresby Golf Club, a gentleman by the name of Bob McTaggart came up with this great idea of having a junior pro-am before the South Pacific Export Papua New Guinea Open. It was a huge success last year. We've only grown with that in 2014.
In the aim of inspiring the young and vibrant junior golfers in their amateur yet competitive golf careers and the development of golf in the country, 6 Pro-Am golfers made time available to assist and guide 5 teams of 3 junior golfers at the course, each having the opportunity to acknowledge people who have supported and inspired them to take up the sport of golf.
My parents got me involved and my whole family also plays, and I just love playing the game of golf.
Yeah, for me it was my father. I've got an older brother as well, which I used to play a lot of golf with him, so yeah, it was Dad and my brother, I guess.
I live right behind the golf course, and you had to be 11 years old to get to the golf course, and I was only 9 at the time, so Dad cut the lock off the back gate, and we used to head up there just as it was getting dark and play a couple of holes. So yeah, Dad got me into it, and he soon gave up when I beat him.
I had a good mate of mine that I played golf sports with that took it up and started to tag along with him, and then the local club sort of continued playing up there, and they sort of had junior programs a lot like this, which sort of continued me going, and yeah, got me going on nicely.
I started back in Africa, where I was born in Zimbabwe. My grandfather was probably the only other person in my family that played golf. Got me hitting off little rubber tees when I was sort of 2 and 3, and sort of developed a love for it then, and played a lot of sports during school, but always just came back to golf from 16 onwards, so, and still enjoy it now.
I started very late in life, about 24. I just started with a few mates, going to the golf club, just had a few drinks, and yeah, just started to enjoy it. And yeah, it was more of a social thing to start with, but I was offered a traineeship through the PGA, and they allowed me to do business management diploma, and I learned how to teach young juniors and a few of the older members in the club, and yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I became a player from trainee pro-ams on a Monday event, and then led into bigger and better things for me.
4 young juniors took out the top honours of the day. All were presented with individual trophies for their efforts.
Being junior golf coordinators, it gives us a great opportunity to look for what we look for in a golfer. I've been trained to be a trainer by the national coach Graham Bolton, and I work alongside our resident professional golfer Nelson Gabriel of Papua New Guinea. And it really, when you work with the young people, it's very interesting because then you can actually find the kid that may have certain gifts, and all children have different talents, and that's what we're looking for. In Port Moresby, Royal Port Moresby Golf Club, For the capacity that I hold as lady captain and a junior coordinator, I specifically have emphasized on quality over quantity.
So tonight actually, we're joined here by Sienna, right? Saini. And we're going to ask her a few questions about today's junior pro golf tournament. So I'll ask you again. So what's your name?
Saini Millie,
Where are you from?
Central and Milne Bay,
How old are you?
turning 11.
When did you take up golfing?
When I was 4, maybe, I don't know, maybe 5 or 4.
How do you feel about being today's winner?
Happy and excited.
Will you be taking part in next year's program too as well?
I'm not sure.
Thank you very much for your time and your patience. And I'm sure there's a great white shark in you polishing those irons for a tee-off. Taking us out on our first break, we caught up with one of 3 of our very own taking part in this year's 2014 SB Export PNG Open and the Junior Golf Coordinator, Nelson Gabriel. Welcome back. With a lot of sporting codes rolling out their respective development programs in the aim of strengthening sports and building young boys and girls for stronger and healthier minds among societies, violence either on and off the field is an unacceptable behavior for any young gun. Lorraine joins us with our first hot topic tonight.
Former and profound Australian Wallaby great Brendan Cannon speaks out on his experience both as an offender and a victim of violence in sport on the field. Cannon played for both the Queensland Reds and the New South Wales Waratahs in what used to be known as the Super 12s competition. With 42 caps under his sleeve for the Australian Wallabies, Cannon was forced to retire in April 2007 due to a serious neck injury.
Brendan, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and the sports that you played growing up?
Well, high school's such a wonderful time because you play so many different sports. In the summer did swimming and did volleyball, and then in the winter was from a rugby family, so rugby was the main sport. As I got older, I got a bit heavier, so athletics and cross country became not as achievable as what they used to be. But really tried to do everything at school, and you did what all your friends did. So I love team sports, and that's why rugby was probably the one that won out in the end, because I think it's it's the ultimate team sport because of all the different shapes and sizes it can play. Heights, tall, short, fat, thin, slow, fast guys can play, and it's the beautiful synergy of getting 15 guys to work together to produce a try, which is the ultimate team effort.
Obviously, being a former Wallaby and also former Fox Sports commentator, you've been heavily involved with the sport itself. Can you just tell us a little bit about your experiences of violence on the field?
Well, I have to admit, in my total playing career, which was amateur and professional, I have 25 weeks of suspension against my name, so I can't sit here and protest that I was completely innocent on the football field. Violence in sport obviously is always a very bad look for whatever sport it's associated with, and it's difficult because you're playing contact sport. Say for instance rugby, it's a contact sport, it's a battle of the wills, you're trying to get the better of the opposition. Everyone's, there's testosterone flowing, everyone's sort of in the heat of the moment, really, supercharged and fired up. And it comes down to elements of individual control. And within the opposition which certain people are easier to upset and sort of trigger them to try and unsettle them, which then can affect the rhythm and the momentum of a team. So, I was always very much on the edge when I played, and I probably was seen as a bit of a target from the opposition to try and bait me and get me to do certain things that might concede a penalty, or I might get sent off, or I might get a yellow card. So It's hard in rugby to maintain control when you're trying so hard to physically impose yourself upon someone else. And things can happen, and things can happen really quickly, and you look back upon games that you've been involved in an incident, and in a normal state of mind and a composed sort of physical presence, you sort of look and go, what was I thinking? But at that moment, instinctively, you do something that's silly and something that potentially affects your team, but also potentially could hurt someone from the opposition. So I must admit that I was a victim as well as being a perpetrator. So, you know, violence in sport is not a good look for the sport, but in contact sports, it's hard not to have elements of violence associated with it.
Looking back now, now and then, has the judicial system changed a lot since then?
Yeah, I think, well, in Australia, you know, obviously I think they can go back, I think it's 8 years from your previous, 8 years of convictions prior to, whatever you're there in front of the judiciary for. So it's like in the rugby league where they have carryover points. In rugby union, the challenge is when I was playing professionally, every week that I was suspended, I lost pay because I was unable to be selected. So not through injury or through selection, through my own inability to manage my behaviour, it cost me financially from being suspended. So plus the shame and the embarrassment and the stigma of being a bad boy, and getting a couple of weeks suspension every time. So when we're young, have a bit of a reckless approach to life. We sort of don't fear of consequence. We sort of just want to live and do what we want to do whenever we want to do it. And it's only when you've done something that gets pulled up or stopped, or you might get sent off in a game, then you sit back and you reflect and you think, oh, I've done the wrong thing, I've done a bad thing. A lot of people don't truly appreciate until it's happened the magnitude or the flow on or the ripple effect of doing a bad act on a sporting field. You let your teammates down, you lose their trust, you lose your coach's faith in you as a player, you let your supporters down, you let the people that spend hard money as sponsors to sponsor the team, you let them down, you let all the people that come and watch the team, that pay money to come and watch the game, and you let the general sport down by being a bad person and not having controlled discipline. So you don't really appreciate the magnitude of all of that until you sit back and reflect upon it, and then you carry a pretty heavy burden about being a bad boy. So my suspensions happened fairly early in my career, and through the adage of time, and the more experienced I became, the more understanding of my own ability in terms of control I got. But when I was young, you could probably say fairly I was a hothead, and it didn't take much to trigger me and get me to fire up and do something silly. So it's hard. You don't appreciate when you're young the consequence of your actions until sadly sometimes it's too late.
Some people like to argue that it all comes down to educating the players when they're already there, which all comes down to the judicial system, I guess.
Lorraine, I think it comes down to respect. Respecting the people you play with, respecting the people you're playing against, respecting the ethos of the sport, and respecting the match officials. Match officials have a very unenviable job where they give up their time, and without match officials, games of sport don't occur. But yet they cop the brunt of all the criticism from the spectators, from the players on the field. At any given stage, you're going to have an unhappy party who's playing and a very happy one that's won. And at some point, the referees or the match officials cop the blame for something that all they've tried to do is do the honest thing and interpret the laws of the game. So I think if you respect everything about the sport that you're playing, and you respect the officials, the supporters, the volunteers, sport doesn't just happen. There's a lot of people that give up time and personal sacrifice, time away from family, time away from children, time away from work environments to be able to play. And if you respect that and respect the ethos of what sport is all about, then I think that goes a long way to preventing unfortunate incidents of on-field violence happening. If you don't appreciate it, you don't respect it, well then obviously the consequence is that you're going to act in a stupid way, you're going to act in a way that is lawless, and you're going to put yourself in danger plus the opposition in danger. So I think if people live their life with respect and treat people the way they expect to be treated, that goes a long way to making unfortunate incidents in sport preventable.
Thanks, Brendan, for taking time out of your busy schedule to have a chat about violence in sport with us.
You're watching Hotspot. Dominating the only semi-professional soccer competition in the country, the Telecom National Soccer League, Hekari United FC have set a benchmark for soccer and development of soccer in the country. Leading his team for another finals run and taking over from Kema Jack, Hekari captain David Muta joins us for a chat.
Here with me in the studio is David Muta, captain of Hekari United FC. David, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and some background on your family?
Well, I'm from Kimbe and Manus. My dad is from Kimbe and my mother is from Manus, and I grew up in Kimbe when I was a small boy, and I'm 27 years old now. I got like two sisters and 4 brothers, so we are 6 in the family. Yeah.
Are you the oldest or the youngest in the family?
I think I'm the second youngest because I'm the second last in the family. My sister is the last one of the family.
Are you the only one in your family that plays soccer or that's interested in the sport?
Well, I think all of us, all my brothers and sisters will play soccer, all of us. Yeah, two sisters, they used to play in the national team too. The national teams, yeah.
Apart from soccer, what are some of the things you enjoy doing?
Apart from soccer, I enjoy doing. I just want to go fishing. Fishing is like one of the habit I really love to do all the time when there is no football in my program.
Tell us about what it's like to be captain of Hekari.
Well, it's a great honor and privilege to captain this one of the most highly ranked team in PNG. It's the most honor to captain this team because lots of good players from Papua New Guinea and also some of the international players from Fiji and Solomon Island, Vanuatu. And it's a very good experience to captain so many of these boys.
What are some of the expectations or responsibilities that you carry as captain of the team?
Well, sometimes in the team, you have to look at the players. Some of the players, you have to make sure that all the players are ready for the game or for the training. So in the morning, in the afternoon, it's always training, and sometimes it's really tiring for the players. And the captain too is always tired, but sometimes you have to step up and you have to stand on your toes, and you have to lead by example to show them that all of us are still there, so we don't have to fall back or drop our performance in training and in the game. So we have to stand strong to train and play. Yeah.
Apart from that, what are some of the challenges that you have encountered, both on and off the field?
There's lots of challenges, and on the field, we have to control the players. Like in the field, when there is like some aggressive play in the field and the players start to get all over the place, well, you have to stand strong and try to control the players, and you don't have to encourage them to do this fighting or whatever in the field. You have to stop them. That's on the field. But off the field, there is like some we have discipline in our club, really strong discipline, and there are lots of our players they have to work on our discipline.
Free kick taken by Muta, the captain. It's not a bad one either, well angled in there.
And our daily routine, it's really hard and challenging because we train in the afternoon and in the morning all the time. So you have to be strong, like mentally and physically fit, because the training always never stop. So we used to wake up early in the morning and in the afternoon, come to the training back, and it's really tiring, but we have to be strong and train.
Now, there are a lot of young aspiring footballers that look up to all you Hekari team members and that would like to play for Hekari themselves. Do you have any message that you'd like to send to these young children?
Well, I got lots of messages to send to them, but I feel like I just want to tell those beautiful young boys and girls which wants to play football in their future, just want to tell them that you have to discipline yourself. Don't do like bad habits like do drugs or like smoking or drinking when you're still young. Try to do like more training. Listen to your parents, which they are your first coaches, and then you listen to your coach when you go to training, and then always listen to your coach, whatever your coach say, and don't try to talk back to the coach or whatever. You have to always listen to the coach and always listen to all the senior players who is in your team, and try to do more in the training. Don't afraid of doing mistakes. You have to do mistake every time. Mistake is the only thing that will make you become a better player. So always keep your head up. Always believe in yourself. Believe in yourself and always believe in the good Lord above, which will give you strength and energy for all the things you've done.
Another great show. A reminder that if you'd like us to feature your sports story, please shoot us an email at eontv.com.pg or visit our Facebook page. And if you're in Port Moresby, please drop by to second floor Garden City and ask for either Godwin, Jeremy, Lorraine, or myself, and we'll be more than happy to assist you. The SB Export PNG Golf Open teed off this morning with a total of 65 golfers from neighboring Australia, New Zealand, the Philippines, as well as Fiji, and our very own brothers August and Robert Penny and Nelson Gabriel will be teeing off too as well. So this weekend's hotspot will be at the Royal Port Moresby Golf Club. We'll leave you with the sharp program presentation. Until next Thursday night, play hard, play safe. Good night, PNG.